field trip today from Fish Lake Valley to Tonopah, Nevada. Today is St. Patrick's Day, even though St. Patrick wasn't really St. Patrick as the Catholic Church says. He was a Baptist minister in his time that was kidnapped by Irish pirates, taken to Ireland. After a few years he escaped, and then he went back to Britain, where he was a member of a Baptist church there. His father was deacon, and we're going to go over there and have dinner tonight and take Marilyn out and make her have a little bit different scenery. We're going to, coming out of our garage, as you saw, it's I set that up for old people. And now we're going to go, this is looking at the front of the house, and we're going to do some decoration this soon, and we're going to take you down on the creek. We haven't done this before, so we're going to go down on the creek. It was really heavy with ice for quite a while, and all of our snow is just about everything is melted. We're going to go down by the creek now on our road trip. This is where we're going to start off. This is right by our house. You'll see the room we built on the back of the house, also the screened in porch and patio. We're going to drop right down by the creek in just a moment. This was for about 3 or 4 weeks. This was about 4 or 5 feet deep in snow here. And now we're going to go down by the creek, and Marilyn usually rolls down her window and listens to the creek and looks at everything. And we're right on the creek. I built this little road down here so I could take Marilyn down in the car so she could look at the creek, and also she could ride the lawnmower down here. The creek is really roaring today. It's 60 degrees today, and there's a lot of snow in the mountains, as you will see in a few moments. Coming up, this was not passable at all when I got the place. It was, matter of fact, you couldn't come in here except with four-wheel drive. Now that's the back of the house there. And you can see the room on the back. You can see the different towers that we have up for a radio. Discover the Word .com actually started with ham radio. We're going to go right by our patio room here. That is our guest room next to it, and it's air conditioning and heated. There's a wood burning cook stove and a barbecue pit in the little patio, screened in patio. I got to paint all of it yet. We could have actually been painting it today. We're going to go around the property again today before we leave. We brought a lot of things up here in the last year. There's a horse trailer from down there. That looks like a bad boy there. We got rid of the starlings, but they're coming back. There's the log splitters and some wood and the chickens. And that's where our motorhome was there. I'm going to go back around here now. Make one more pass here. This is our junk pile. There's an old car, rear seat of a car that we're going to make a bench out of and put it out in front. And we'll have a rusty old back seat of a car up there. Looking again at the back of the house. There. My shop trailer that I've had for 40 plus years. our tractor that is a lifesaver there. And log splitters and the chickens here. You can see the chicken pens out here. And also the patio. That's on the back of the house there. There's the patio, the north patio. And we'll screen it in also, so we can sit out there in the evening and people can come and stay out on the patio also in the summertime. Some of them even in the wintertime. If they're brave and don't like a little coolness right now, it wouldn't be too bad at all. I camped up here this time of year when I was younger with no problem at all. And there's the White Mountains, if you can see them. They're very, very heavy in snow. Now here we go down our property. This road was very heavy in snow for about 3 weeks. No one got in or out. People in the mountains up high, up on Davis Canyon, Davis Creek, and Chadwich Creek, could not get out at all. One of my friends in Pigeon Springs has not been out of his house in 21 days. They still haven't not got the road cleared to his house. They're making about a mile or so a day. Now we're going down. Looking over there is where the hot well is. That's where I also saw the Bigfoot. Looking back toward the Silver Peak Range. This is an outing from Maryland. She doesn't get to go out as much as I do. And she likes to go to Tonopah. The Station House Hotel and Casino there has a very good restaurant in it. And then the Mizpah Hotel. We'll show you all of that as we go. Some of the houses, you can see them down Chadwich Creek. Just about straight ahead is where they're going to build the lithium mine and also the geothermal electric generation plant. I just put a camera mount in my Highlander here today, trying to get it kind of organized. This is Highway 264 from Mount Water Ranch Road. Now we'll go down, we're going to cross over Chadwich Creek, and when I was young, that house to the left there is where I used to stay. The second house is. And I trained horses out in the backyard there. We'd catch a wild Mustang. We're crossing over Chadwich Creek now. And that's the houses there. They're rebuilding the one. They rebuilt the other one years ago. Now here we go, down the road. There's the road there to the hot well, and it's closed. Here's another little community up here. This is called the Pennebaker subdivision. And that's Combined Metals up there. Mr. Larry Atkinson ran that for years, and he just passed away recently. I believe he was even younger than me. He was a ham operator. I knew him and knew a lot of my customers when I worked for the hydraulic place, and I'd bring supplies up here to all the mines and farms. And Combined Metals here, I set them up with hose making machines from Gates hoses, and they had a cement batch plant here, a gravel plant where they had gravel, and mining outfit, all types of a tremendous machine shop. And I knew the people that worked here, and it was quite a business until he got what is called like something like dementia, and he could not run his business anymore. He employed a lot of people here in Fish Lake Valley at one time. And even that was combined metals. If up to the left, I can't point these things out to you with the camera, but up to the left is White Mountain, and over there to the left also is was an Indian village and a lot of petroglyphs. And then up here to the right is where the petrified forest was. As you're looking at that mountain there, that reddish-looking mountain, that's where one of the, well, some of the scenes in 7 Ways from Sundown Jones with John McIntyre and Audie Murphy when they were starring in that movie together. That was one of the areas. Right in that area also is Columbia Marsh. It is was a gold mine at one time, and there's the ground is just right at water level, and it is a marsh. This is what you call high desert, but it is high desert and alpine. And there are a lot of hot springs and springs all over this place, full of wild horses, bighorn sheep, antelope, and I don't know whether we'll see any of them today or not, but there are a lot of them here. A lot of bighorn sheep and antelope, wild horses, mule deer, wolves, lions, bears, all kinds of wild animals, coyotes and bobcats, badgers. And years ago they were still some little beaver, native beaver up here in White Mountain, but the Forest Service one killed a lot of them, or all of them. There are also some like golden trout up here high in the mountains, and brook trout, rainbow, German trout, cutthroat, all types of fish. And Fish Lake, before it was destroyed, had a lot of bass in it, and trout. And when Jim Boyce came along, he destroyed the lake. I don't know how he got by with all the wicked things that he did, but he did because he had a lot of money. And I tried to stop him from destroying the lake, but it didn't happen. He destroyed the lake. And I doubt if it'll ever come back. It would be nearly impossible, all the damage it did to it. The toxins and the mud, things in there from drilling mud and everything. I don't know if it would be possible. To the right here, where that piece of machinery is, that road grader, is the petrified forest. And it's got a lot of prehistoric animals, bones and things in there, dinosaurs, big sharks, things like that. We're going to turn right here now on 773, and we're going to go to Tonopah. Now this road here was washed out pretty bad and snowed in seriously. And up there to the right is where the petrified forest is. If you saw a little green in there, that is the flora and fauna in there from where it was a swamp also. And a lot of trees in there. I mean, just a tremendous amount of trees. I did a little short video of that. I want to do a better one. As a matter of fact, we did 2 videos of that. One with the Norton family and one when we went up there just in the Jeep. There's the Columbia Marsh to the left, and where the part of the movie 7 Ways from Sundown Jones was shot. There are roads that go back in there, but you got to be careful. You can drive in there, and it looks like dry ground, and all of a sudden you drive out there and your car starts sinking. It's a marsh. It was just dry on top. That was all. moved here in 1953, there wasn't any electricity in the valley at all usable, except on Ford Ranch. He had a hydroelectric plant there for his ranch only. You see electric lines and things and telephone poles down here now that we didn't have back in those days. They didn't have electricity here until later in the 1960s. It kept a lot of people out of here, and the cold winters did also. But we haven't had really bad winters in about 30, 40 years. This winter was one of them. We did not have the cold. We had a lot of snow. Probably got 5 or 6 foot of snow in the valley. Now, all down through here, we have seen antelope running across the road, bighorn sheep, wild horses everywhere. They're just all over the place. Some of this place looks like Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, the Grand Canyon. It's just a combination of everything all at once. The skies are very blue up here, as you can see. Looking down toward Tonopah, way over there. I imagine we will see mountains with snow on them. There's mountains with the snow. There's still on some of the mountains here, even up in Columbia Marsh. Now, right up to there's a road that goes to the Hot Well and the Silver Peak. It's called Immigrants Pass or something like that road. The people on our website, Discover the Word with Dr. Jim YouTube, are really enjoying these road trips. And please make comments and like them and subscribe, please. It helps us out a little bit with public relations, and it also gives us a little bit more exposure. You can see up in the mountains there is still some snow. We've had such heavy rains after the snow, and also warm days like today, 61, 62 degrees, which is really melt snow. I think when we went by the creek, you could probably hear the creek running. The roads over here are not very straight. I don't want you looking at those white lines, but they're just weaving all over the place. There was a lake up here, and you can see the dry lake bottom like the Salt Lake. A lot of times here in the summertime you'll come through here and there'll be water standing all over from flash floods, really heavy rains in the summer, and that lake will actually be gleaming with water at times. Over there to the right is Coaldale. And I believe some of that reddish looking rock over there is actually anthracite or coal. I've been wanting to go over there and get some of that coal to burn in my wood stove. I got some years and years ago. There looks like another piece of equipment down here to the right. And more coal over there. It's not black, it's brown. think they, during the gold mines times, and here we see where the water washed over the road, and there's still dirt over the road. We may even see water over the road still in places. They used this coal mine because they were having smelters and all kinds of stuff in the coal mining days, and they needed to process the gold and silver. You can see where the water washed down the side of the road, and now we'll come up to another sandy place where water washed over the road. There are places on the way to Bishop, California on Highway 6 that there are 10-foot to 50-foot washouts on the side of the road. And thank goodness it's not that deep on this side. In May, they're going to chip seal the road. Another washout. And yet another one right ahead. And you can see the snow-capped mountains over there. And down here there's a lot of water on the side of the road. I've been holding the camera when we do these things, but sitting on the dash I think is much better. Hopefully. You can see the water where it stands here on the side of the road. This sometimes is just a lake out here. Flash floods. We have a lot of water this year. Last year it rained all summer, like monsoon rains. Then we had a wet winter, and as you can see the beautiful mountains ahead that are snow-capped. We'll probably be seeing water on the side of the road for quite a little way. Now we're coming up to Highway 6. We're going to turn right for Tonopah. Montgomery Pass and Coaldale were very just jumping little burgs at one time. But they, I guess the owners died. The ones that actually kept them open. The ancestors, and didn't care anything about continuing on the enterprises. You can see there's water here and there on the side of the roads. And up there, there's more snow-capped mountain up by Tonopah. It's probably chilly up there tonight. It says right here, it says it's 55 degrees outside right now. For the next about 5 miles from here, in the summertime, it's very hot. It'll be sometimes 120 degrees. It'll be 85 or 90 in Fish Lake Valley and 120 over here. And it's just, you know, just miles apart. I don't know why. The great difference in temperature. Up to Coaldale here in just a little while. Coaldale had a restaurant, and of course a casino, and a hotel, motels, gas station, a tow truck, mechanics, and everything at one time. It's absolutely nothing there. And out here in the middle of nothing like this, we still have gang activity out of Las Vegas and Reno and Carson City. They come out here and paint things up. only had one instance of that in Fish Lake Valley. It didn't last very long. The people here don't put up with that. They defend themselves. Out through here, there's water standing in puddles in numerous places. Highway 95 is coming up ahead. I see these travel videos like this. I know there's some people out there that don't have the ability to get out and travel. And Marilyn and I are both elderly, but we're still able to do some of this. We still put out from 4 to 8, 10 messages in our church services a week. There isn't a rest stop until Miller's. I wish that they would somehow renovate Coaldale and put a rest stop in a little restaurant, maybe a gas station there. Still on people's GPSs as they come out to this country, they say, oh, Coaldale, gas and food and lodging. But it's not gas and food and lodging anymore. And they get out here and they're out of gas. And maybe they're planning on stopping there and eating, and there's no place to eat either. Up to Coaldale here in a few moments. Hope you're enjoying the trip. We are. You're enjoying yourself, Marilyn?
Yeah, it's fun. To see everything.
There's a cell tower out here, and also up here in a little way is a GPS system for airplanes. Pilots, there's a place here that I don't know exactly what it's called. Some of you out there will. But it's a beacon for aircraft. There's a lot of military aircraft out here. They do a lot of testing, flying out here. Come up here and the sign will say Hawthorne and Reno one way and Tonopah and Las Vegas the other, and we're going to go toward Tonopah, Nevada. When you get close to these stop signs or intersections here, it'll go boom 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 like you were watching the movie Jaws. Little rumble things. That's where Coaldale used to be. That was quite a little jumping town at one time. Really of good construction. But now there is nothing. There's cell towers and repeaters. All along here, they're drilling for gold and silver in different places. There's still more gold up here that's ever been found, more silver that's ever been found, I am sure. And the technology today to extract it is better than it was 100 years ago, by a long shot. Wiggling along here like a snake. most of the way there. Aircraft beacon over there to the right, and that also is the road that goes to Silver Peak, Nevada. 40 years ago, I guess, that used to be one of my customers over there. Time flies. You know, I used to think 5 or 10 years ago, now it's 50 and 60 and 70 years ago. You know, when you're working hard and going through a lot of trauma in your life, it seems like it's forever. A day, a week is forever. But then if you live through it, it's behind you. And each of those days that seemed like they were 100 hours is all behind and all gone. Wide open spaces. Now, out in here there's wild donkeys, burros, whatever you want to call them, wild horses, bighorn sheep, antelope. There's a repeater there also, to the right. It's about 61 miles from the gas station in Tonopah where we fill up with gas to our front yard. There's the road to Silver Peak, Nevada. There was a silver mine there. They have been mining lithium there for quite a few years. That mountain there has some snow on it. Quite a few of them in different places up here still. Over here to the left are settling ponds. And what they do is they take the gold ore and silver ore and platinum, whatever, precious metals. They take it and kind of grind it up, crush it up, and put it in a pile. But they put down a heavy, waterproof material underneath it. Then they go on there and they just start dumping all of this gold, silver, platinum ore on top of that. And then later on, they take and put sprinklers on top of that. And they sprinkle these chemicals that filter down to that. And then it takes out the silver and gold and platinum, etc. And then they refine that. And they discover there's gold and silver and platinum, etc. in that. So over here to the left, we will see some of those things. Many of these towns up here are like honeycombs underneath them, and Tonopah is one of them. There are mountains outside of Tonopah in every direction that is gold ore at one time. And they would take that and pile it outside, but underneath Tonopah it's hollow. It's like termites underneath there, or ant tunnels, or gopher holes. Except they go very deep and all in many directions. That the Highlander, the camera is not jumping up and down as much as it is in the pickup and the Jeep. The weather was good today, so we brought the Highlander. It gets much better gas mileage, and it rides a lot smoother. Up here you'll see some really heavy snow-capped mountains. And also there is an electrical plant out here around this big tall tower, which probably you'll see in a few minutes. Are a lot of mirrors, and all of these mirrors in all four directions and everything in between are pointed at that tower up there, and it superheats something down in there and produces electricity with this. It's like a atomic plant, except it's not atomic. It just uses the sun for power. I don't know how efficient it is or anything, but evidently they're making some electricity out there. It takes up several hundred acres, and it's going to come in sight here in just a few moments. Possibly see it on the camera now. Straight ahead of us now. And all that on the bottom are mirrors in every direction. Now over here to the left are all the settling ponds. Or some of the settling ponds. There's a lot of them up here. You can see those settling ponds because they're flat topped. They're like mountains out there, but they're flat topped. Looks like they ran over a coyote or a horse or something there. A lot of blood on the road.
I don't think it's picking it up, Jim.
Oh yes, it is. There to the left of the settling ponds. Settling ponds there. snow-capped mountains, a heavy snow-capped mountain. Up that way is where Utah is, Caliente, Nevada, and then later on in the year, we're going to do a little road trip to Area 51, where these flying saucers are sighted, they say all the time. We'll take you to the Flying Saucer Cafe, where there are all kinds of pictures on the wall. There are many secret aircraft up here. I have seen some fantastic big bombers and all kinds of stuff up here that are just like flying wings, or almost like disc flying. I had a friend that worked for Air Force Intelligence, Bill Moore was his name, K5CIS on the radio. He was a very close friend of mine. And he took pictures of flying saucers, so to speak, or unidentified flying objects, actually. And most of the things that he saw were top secret aircraft that they were using. He said, what they're doing right now, you won't know about until 50 years later. That's the story as he told it. Getting closer to Tonopah. The electrical generating plant up here, wherever it is, or whatever they do with it. It's right ahead. It's a little bit to the right. It'll be to our left where this road's going to turn again. I think they just follow the high area across this desert out here. This is high desert. It's not like Mojave. The elevation here is probably over 5,000 feet. And by the way, your car gets much better gas mileage up here in this high altitudes, believe it or not, because there's less oxygen. And so they use less gasoline in the modern fuel injection systems. This car gets about 18 to 25 miles per gallon down in the San Joaquin Valley and over on the coastal area. And up here it's getting 25 to 40 miles per gallon. Just according to where you're going. Still says it's 55 degrees outside. In a few miles we'll be coming up to the Miller's Rest area, and that out there is a snow-capped mountain. And again, straight ahead is the thermoelectric plant, I guess you might call it, I don't know. That big tower in the middle, all of the mirrors are reflected to it. I don't know whether it would be better to put a bunch of solar panels out there or have this like that. I guess this is experimental, maybe. That tower is probably 300 feet tall, by the way. road has to be on a high ridge out here, or else it would be underwater some of the times. Our little road trip today. It's about 4:02 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday. This little U-shaped road here. Makes a right turn up here and on up to Tonopah, Nevada. These road trips have been popular on our YouTube site, even on the sermon audio site, even though I don't put all of them out there. Esmeralda County, and we're going to go into Nye County and then come back into Esmeralda County. This is where it goes up here. The Nye County courthouse is here in Tonopah, and the Esmeralda County courthouse is in Goldfield, Nevada, which used to be the largest town here. But Goldfield is almost a ghost town now, even though they're starting to mine gold again up there now. They're putting some people to work. We're going to come up to Miller's Rest area, Miller's Stop, or whatever.
Do you remember what Tonopah meant?
I think it means a little bit of water.
Yeah.
There are a lot of gold mines and silver mines up here, a lot of old holes in the ground, caves. I always tell you, stay out of them. Stay out of them and stay alive. They had to pump a lot of water out of these mines up here because they went down so far and they got water. Even though some many times it wasn't fit to drink. If you're coming down on Highway 95, which we're on now, in Esmeralda County, and you need to stop and rest, this is one of the only rest areas where you can stop, here at Miller's. But the trucks are not allowed to go in there. I think they stop outside and maybe walk in there. Another repeater site out here by Miller's. Over there to the left, again, whether you can see it or not on the camera, I don't know, but that is the geothermal plant. Or whatever thermo it is. It should be called solar thermal. There was one coming straight head on at him. People take a lot of chances out here. collisions, especially truck drivers. Truck drivers really drive like they don't have a driver's license out here. Sometimes I don't know whether they do or not. There's Miller's Rest area there. Like some people are out there camping. There are pigeons and blackbirds around a lot of these places, and many times dove and quail, and they look up for handouts from the travelers. Coming into Tonopah in a few more minutes. We'll drive around Tonopah and show you the sights of Tonopah. They're building a Flying J, I believe it is, truck stop up here with a restaurant and everything in it. That would be kind of a little asset to the town. Trailer, it looked like a 60 or 80 foot trailer. I had a friend up here, Travis Patterson, that lived in Tonopah, Nevada. He used to call it the rock pile. That's just about what it is. There was the Mizpah Hotel in Belvedere, I think. The station house has been there for quite a while, but the Mizpah Hotel was built in 1907, the year my grandmother was born. And my grandmother's the one that raised me. Her name was Dottie Wilburn. She was the granddaughter of Samuel Eichert Paul, the infamous Chickasaw marshal that the movie True Grit was borrowed from. My great-grandmother, Hattie Jane Paul, was his daughter, Samuel Paul's daughter. His father, Smith Paul, was a Scots descent, and John Paul Jones, which actually his name was John Paul, they put Jones on the end of it to kind of hide out because he had killed his first mate. He was the father of the American Navy, and absolutely indefatigable and unconquerable. Rand Paul and Ron Paul and Rand Paul are both descendants of the Paul family from Scotland. And they come to the Paul family reunions. Smith Paul married into the Chickasaw Nation and had several children. Which became very famous people. Sam Paul was one of the most famous marshals and politicians in the history of the Chickasaw Nation and the history of Oklahoma. The Oklahoma seal actually is a seal that was borrowed from his newspaper heading that he had. He was very instrumental in early politics. He was the Indian chief, and actually the Indian chief of the whole Chickasaw Nation. One time his brother, half-brother, Tecumseh McClure, was also a chief for many years. Sam Paul was killed by his son, Joe Paul. He was egged on because of politics to get rid of him. And they thought he was a traitor in those days because he was trying to circumvent the Dawes Act and trying to get the Chickasaw Nation and all the other nations around there, other Indian nations, to subdivide their own land and not wait for the white man to do it. Because he said, you'll lose 9/10 of it, and they did. He was killed for his views by his son being egged on by many of the others, what they call the full-bloods, or the nationalists, and he was called a progressive because he knew that someday that they would have to lay down their sacred traditions to compete in a government that didn't recognize them at all. They had to accommodate, start thinking. If Sam Paul had lived, Oklahoma would still be an Indian nation. Now there's very little Indian land back there at all. All of the Choctaw Nation, which was later called Oklahoma, half of it was taken away after the Civil War. All of it was treated to the Indian tribes as Indian territory, never to be taken at all. Never could it be treated for or treated out of. It was supposed to be an American Indian possession from now on. They moved a lot of the Indians from the Midwest and the East into that Indian territory. Originally, one of the names was supposed to be Indianola. Indianola, which was in my family. Some of the girls were called Indianola. Some of Mississippi's descendants, Mississippi Paul, which was Sam Paul's sister. Now we're coming into Tonopah, Nevada in a few moments. Following this big truck here, he's going to block our view to some extent. He was traveling 70 miles an hour, and he still is, so I didn't pass him, even though 70 miles an hour wasn't fast enough for a lot of people. Fast enough for me. Gabb's Pole Line Road, way out there, was the land was not, the road wasn't traveled at all. And my friend Dave and his wife Margie went out there to do a newspaper shoot early in the morning. And he was a ham operator, KE7LZ, and I heard him about 12 or 1 o'clock on the radio. And I figured out he was coming on the input of the 9-4 machine as 146-34. And I got over there and asked him, and I said, Dave, are you all right? And he hollered, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And I got help out of Tonopah up here because he would have been there and died because it was about 120 degrees out there that day. And nobody was going to come and rescue him because they didn't know he was there. Well, we rescued him. Got a tow truck out of Tonopah. They got out there. They didn't have any water or food with him because Margie was a waitress up at the station house. And Dave was a Southern Baptist preacher, by the way. And they were going to go up there after they did this newspaper photograph shoot, and they were going to go have breakfast at the station house. Well, it never happened. They took food and water out there to them, and I got help out there within 45 minutes. He got on the radio that night on the Bishop Amateur Radio Club, and he said, that man saved my life today. My wife and my life and my wife's life. We would not have made it to the day. Well, sometimes ham radio saved lives. That was one that it saved. And the second time I took my novice test, he gave it to me. That was a long time ago. Now we're coming up into the city of Tonopah, Nevada. Over there is a subdivision out there toward the, that's where the courthouse is now. You can see it. The kind of rose-colored roof is the courthouse. We'll turn it back up here this way now. We're coming through here. They rent out motorhomes and mobile homes and everything else here for people to stay in. And there's some hotels also. Some of the old towns in here. Over here to the left is Love's. That's what it was, Love's. I don't know whether it's open yet or not. It doesn't look like it's open, not yet. It's over to the left. We'll leave that sign or that camera over to the left a little bit for a moment as we go by there. And we'll turn it back over here to the right and straight ahead. Tonopah Station, the station house. That's where we might go and have dinner. If there's not too much smoke in there. There's the graveyard. We're going by the graveyard now. Some of the hotels start here, the Comfort Inn and Subway and Burger King. Some of the old town of Tonopah, some of the great big piles of dirt out there are the ore that they pulled out of those deep underground mines. There's a little Tonopah sign there. Motels and diners all over. There's a good fast food there. I can't vouch for that, but that's what they say. Travel Inn, the Block Club, the Bank Club, that is. And the Clown Motel, the world famous Clown Motel. There she is. World famous Clown Motel. Every room in there has got clowns painted all over, all types of clown paraphernalia. Here we go through town. I'll get over here in the slow lane. There's the Bank Club. Chinese food. Up on the hill up there, you'll see all the different types of towers up there where they sent elevators down. There's the stamp mill to the left. Different of the older buildings here in town, an old hotel from a long time ago, room for board. Used to be the Ford dealership here. There was a Chevrolet dealership right there. There's the world famous Ms. Paul Hotel right there. Going down to the old downtown Tonopah here. Two hotels here have been restored. One to the left of Miss Paul, and the other one over here to the right, the Belvedere, or whatever it's called there, hotel. Both of those have been restored. Jim Butler Hotel and the A Bar L, the United States Post Office, the Smoke Shop, and Hometown Pizza, and Whitney's Bookshelf, where I used to order books out of there.
Pizza.
What?
The pizza.
Oh, I
place.
said pizza. And then the Bug Bar on the Hill, whatever that means. Drink on the Brink. There's the brewery and barbecue tap house. The barbecue there is pretty good. I don't know anything about their brew, but their barbecue I tasted before. There's the old courthouse up there, where I went a long time ago, taking care of some business. Going through here, Rippey Realty, no Trish Rippey, and a motorcycle shop. Also Valley Propane, which delivered 160 gallons of propane to me today. The old tar paper houses with the wood stoves in them. There you'll see one right there. And up on that hill up there, I preached at the Southern Baptist Church up there years ago. And here's a hospital up here. That's still functioning somewhat. There's the road to the left was the road to Area 51 all the way up into Utah, Caliente. There's a hotel to the right, or not hotel, but hospital to the right. Frontier Medical, Urgent Primary Care, and now up here is the world famous Station House. And here's the Central Nevada Museum right there. Up here is a Rayleigh's supermarket, and somehow they got one of Bob's big boys, a little big boy there with the hamburger. I know they're stealing them all over down in Los Angeles. I don't know where this one came from. We're going by the station house right now. Here is also the Department of Motor Vehicles. And that's where we get our insurance right there, or the DTW Highlander, which will be changing out of their name pretty soon. I paid for it about 3 times already. I made extra donations. We're going to drive down through here behind Rayleigh's.
There's a mailbox right there.
Yeah.
There's our letter.
Well, we can. Mr. Bush didn't stop down this mailbox, did he? He using all the mailboxes in his time. I'll put this mail in there. All right, now we're back on the road again in a moment. We'll do a little bit more sightseeing here in town. We know how to get around on the back streets just a little bit because I've been coming up here for 50 years. This is the back side of the station house. There are 2 big grizzly bears in there that are stuffed. We'll drive up and drive around town here just a little bit. You can look up, see the different hotels and housing developments up here. you'll see a lot of people carrying guns on their side here. That's because it's open carry. There's very little crime around here, because if a criminal is going to take on somebody carrying a gun, is a little bit foolish. This is like the Old West here. That right there, those are ore piles. Logan Field. Up there by the, now Logan Field is named after Thomas Logan. Was a sheriff here, and he was killed in duty, shot to death. The bad thing about it is that, and by the way, this is the old Tonopah Air Force Field here. We just went by that. Somebody's coming up behind me. I will pull in here so you can see it just a little bit.
Somebody's coming.
Yeah. Off-road vehicles driving around. Everything else up here is kind of like pioneer country. Anyway, this is a field. Air Force was up here during World War II. They had a lot of people stationed here. They were flying airplanes out of here. The largest ammo depot in the world, maybe, is in Hawthorne, Nevada. Which we did a video of here just the other day. Looking down across Tonopah, Nevada here. Looking down at the old mining museums. We're about close to 7,000 feet here. I can't remember. Between 6,000 and 7,000 feet, something like that. There is the old, one of the old Air Force. There was an air base out here also. The airplanes went in and out. Tonopah Resource Center now. There was a trailer park there where my friend Travis used to live. California Avenue. Go up here and look around a little bit. People come up here and just park their motorhomes and hang around. Sawtooth Road. There's a lady walking down here with a couple of dogs. They'll usually wave at you. Mobile home park up here. Hillside Terrace. I'm going to drive around up here just a little bit and then drive back. Lots available. Guy is friendly, he waves.
Yes. He waved.
Yeah. We'll turn around up here now and go back down. Let's see the lady with the dogs again and the guy that waved at us. That's my friend calling me. Here this moment. Bill, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back.
Okay.
A lot of people work in this area up here that don't have any housing. So they bring their trailers up here and they park them on the dump sites with electric and propane. Drive around here a little bit, you can see some of the old buildings up here. There are buildings made out of adobe with bottles in them and all kinds of stuff up in this area. Well, there's a real old car there. Car body. There's an old house right there, a tar paper shack. I lived in one of those when I was a young boy. My first house I ever lived in was in Fish Lake Valley. Really a house. Besides a converted chicken coop or something. My family was pretty poor. Looking around at some of these old homes up here. A lot of these are from the 1900s, early 1900s. See those?
Mm-hmm.
There's some brick homes here, even. Some that look like brick homes. Because they got tar paper on them, looks like brick. So we're going some of the back streets up here so you can see old Tonopah. And some of new Tonopah. There's a church up there where I preached about 40 years ago. We'll turn around and go up that way also. These streets are pretty straight up and down here. Some of them. They have a lot of mobile homes up here because pre-manufactured homes are a lot easier to get here than lumber and carpenters. See some of the homes up here. Someplace up here is the Bug Bar. I don't know where, but up here someplace. I don't know why they call it the Bug Bar, but must have some reason for that.
Probably somebody got a bug in their beer.
Who knows? There's the First Baptist Church of Tonopah. I preached in there, did Travis Patterson's funeral. 1980 something. Looking down on Tonopah now, you can see how straight up and down the streets are. I think that's the old courthouse over there. There's a lot of snow in this country. They do have a dollar store up here and things like that. There's a Bella Vita salon. Again, Tonopah Motorcycle Works. Are you hungry, Marilyn?
I'm getting that way, are you?
Yes, I am very hungry. There's a tar paper shack right there with an old stovepipe coming up out of it. almost everybody has a wood stove up here. They really need to. Propane is very expensive, and not only that, there's Ely in Las Vegas straight ahead. Ely, Nevada, that to the left. There's a garage up there and the towing place. We'll drive all the way through town and then we're going to come back so you can see a lot of Tonopah. Come up to the station house again. There's Logan Field, named after Thomas Logan. He's buried in the old museum that's down by the Clown Hotel. Looks like there's a lot of cars there today. A lot of old mining equipment and things out here. We'll drive through town and show you the dollar store, and then we'll come back. There used to be a McDonald's right there, but now it's called Beans and Brew. I don't know what happened to that. And there's the dollar store to the right. Then we have the Forest Service up here. Strong crosswinds possible next 5 miles. Yep. There's another station up there. Texaco. I had Jim's Texaco one time, a long time ago. Gasoline $4.59 a gallon here. There's a Tonopah Ranger Station. People go around us here. That's as far as we're going to go. Next rest, 94 miles. Next gas. And rest station is 94 miles from here. That's a long way. I'm going to turn around here and go back through Tonopah. They got 4-H clubs and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and everything here. Looks like they got pizza there. And the Burger King just ahead. And we'll go up here and we'll go in and see if I can stand the smoke in the station house. I don't do very well with cigarette smoke at all. And they don't smoke in the restaurant, but there is no door stopping the smoke going in there. We'll drop in there and see. Maybe I'll go in the front door. Marilyn, do you need to use the restroom here?
No.
Okay. Drive up here. Like to record on the camera those 2 big grizzly bears, whether I stay there or not. We might end up going to A&W root beer, which they have up here. Who knows? We got almost to the front door here. We'll stop right here. Take the, now what's going on? Oh yeah, there it is. Take the camera off and take it inside. I'll be right back. Shopping center here. There's a laundromat in here also. This is kind of one for all place here. big grizzly bear here. Chucker. Game is a bear. That's a big grizzly bear. Wooden Indian. That's what my mother used to call me, a wooden Indian. A whiskey steel. My family were bootleggers and whiskey makers in the Indian Territory so many years ago. There's a laundromat. Different types of things here. We'll go back in and look into the restaurant. I can stand to smoke. Not much in there, but a little bit more than I can handle. The bear in there. Got a grizzly bear. Frederick Remington's. And that big bear. Here we are. There's Marilyn waiting for us. We are still in Tonopah, Nevada. And we're see? That's looking back down on Tonopah. We're up here going to get gasoline. Looking back on the Mezbah Hotel and Belvedere. Turning around now. This is a lot of mining here. That is all tailings from mines. There is a big mine shaft there going very deep in the ground. This Tonopah basically is hollow underground. We're going to go back here to get some gasoline. I think that changed the name of the gasoline company. It was Union. some older cars back in here too. The Rebel. Rebel, Tonopah, Nevada. Get some gasoline here.